Okay, now, hello. This is part four. This lesson is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. The goal is to help you understand money habits, emergency savings, and practical steps you can use to build more stability in life. Welcome back to part four of this financial literacy series. Today we are talking about the first emergency fund, not because emergencies are fun to talk about, but because life happens. Cars break down, hours get cut, children need things, a bill shows up, tire goes flat, a prescription costs more than expected, something in the house breaks, and when you have no cushion, even a small problem can feel like a disaster. An emergency fund gives you breathing room. It does not solve every problem, but it helps keep one problem from turning into five. And building an emergency fund also gets you in a habit of handling money in an appropriate manner and setting a goal and achieving it. Why emergencies feel so heavy. Chapter two, a lot of people are not stressed because they're lazy. They're stressed because they have no buffer. When every dollar is already spoken for, one surprise expense can throw off the whole month. A $50 problem can create a late fee. A late fee can create an overdraft. An overdraft can create more fees. Then one small problem begins a chain reaction. This is why emergency savings matter. It creates space between you and panic. It gives you time to think. And sometimes time to think is what keeps you from making a desperate decision, like those high loans with the high interest, very high loans. Chapter three, emergency fund versus savings goal. An emergency fund is different from a regular savings goal. A savings goal could be for a trip, a new phone, car, clothes, furniture, school, business, tools, or a celebration. Those things matter. But an emergency fund has one job: protection. Emergency money is for real, unexpected needs: a car repair you need to get to work, a medical expense, a sudden bill, temporary loss of income. Back to the medical expense. Always ask the hospital if they have some type of assistance, because a lot of them do, especially the ones out here, and I know the ones in Houston. But so I'm assuming, hopefully, the one near you does too. But also, hopefully, you don't need it. Temporary loss of income, a necessary home repair, an urgent family need. It is not for boredom, for comparison, for impulse shopping. It is not for something you want because it is on sale. Emergency money should protect your stability. And let me pull that back up in case you want to look at that. I'll give a few moments. You could pause the video, but that's just what I read. And then your first goal is not $10,000. A lot of people hear financial advice saying you need 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. That is a good long term goal, but for a beginner, that can feel impossible. So do not start with the mountain, start with the first step. Your first emergency fund goal could be $25, then 50, then 100, then 250, then 500, then 1,000. The point is to build that. Even a small emergency fund can change how you feel, because once you save the first $100, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you can keep money. You prove that every dollar does not have to disappear. That matters. And also keep this private, especially if it's people who are not financially stable. Don't ever tell them that. I did that when I first started saving, and suddenly people needed to borrow the amount I was saving. Don't do it. 0 out of 10 will recommend. And also, when it comes to the goal, how you eat 5 pounds of crawfish, one crawfish at a time. So that's what you do with the savings goal as well. The psychology of keeping money. For some people, saving money feels uncomfortable. That may sound strange, but it is real. If you're used to money disappearing, keeping money can feel unfamiliar. If you grew up around financial instability like I did, saving may feel like something only other people do. If you have been in survival mode for a long time, your brain may treat extra money like it needs to be used immediately. Spend it before something takes it. Spend it before someone asks for it. Spend it before life happens. But saving teaches your brain a new identity. I am someone who keeps something for myself. I am someone who protects my future. I'm someone who can pause before spending. The emergency fund is not just about money, it is about becoming someone who prepares. Like they say on the Lion King, be prepared. I don't even know how I moved, but I just moved. I have to get back to where I was at. Okay, next slide. The problem with I'll save what's left whenever I get back because it switched. Let me pause this. Okay, I'm back. The script ran away from home, so I had to go catch it. Chapter 6, the problem with I'll save what's left. Most people try to save what is left over, but the problem is often nothing is left over. Bills come, food, gas, unexpected things arrive, then wants come, then leaks. And by the time the month is over, the money is gone. That is why paying yourself first matters, even if it is $5, even if it is $10. Moving something into emergency savings before the money disappears into everything else. The behavior matters. You're creating a new pattern. It's brand new and it's based off of you. You can use the blueprint, but you're going to eventually make your own. Chapter 7, where should you keep emergency money? Emergency money should be easy enough to access when there is a real emergency, but not so easy that you spend it accidentally. Some people use a separate savings account, a different bank. Some people use a cash envelope or lockbox for very small beginner amounts. The key is separation. If emergency money sits in the same account as spending money, it can disappear without you noticing. So create a boundary. This money has a job. It is to protect you. Keeping cash, large amounts of cash, be extremely careful with that because there's no protection if something happens to cash. At least in the bank account, you have the FDIC protection for banks that have FDIC protection up to $100,000, allegedly. Chapter 8, what counts as an emergency? Is this necessary, unexpected, and urgent? If the answer is yes, it may be an emergency. A flat tire you need fixed to get to work, emergency, but also make sure you don't have road hazard on your car or you don't have like a warranty on your tire as well that covers road hazard. Emergency, a medical copay you did not expect, emergency. A utility bill issue that could affect your home, emergency. Lost income and you need groceries, emergency. But also too, if you can get to a food pantry, try that out first. Like when it comes to things that they have resources out there for, if you really strap for cash, that means you qualify for those services people offer. And some people may deal with guilt, some people may feel ashamed. So if that's something, then hey, but when it comes to building a better you, when you achieve that, you're going to see why shame was the biggest thing you wasted time on. A sale, that's not an emergency. A concert ticket, not an emergency. A new outfit because friends are going out, not an emergency. Food delivery because you did not plan dinner, usually not an emergency. This is not about judgment. It is about protecting purpose and protecting money. Number 9, chapter 9, the emergency fund rule. Here is the rule. Use it when needed. Replace it when you can. Do not quit. Sometimes people finally build a small emergency fund, then life happens and they have to use it. Then they feel discouraged. Then they say, I've saved it and now it is gone. But that is not failure. That is exactly what the money was for. If your emergency fund helped you avoid debt, overdraft fees, late fees, or panic, it worked. Now you rebuild it. That is the cycle. Save, use when needed, rebuild. That is not failure. That is protection. And then over time, you can slowly increase it. Even my clip art ran away from home. Chapter 10, funding the emergency fund. In part 3, we talked about money leaks. Now we're going to talk about this lesson. One of the easiest ways to start an emergency fund is to redirect one leak, not every leak, but one leak. If you reduce delivery fees, move that money. If you cancel an unused subscription, move that money. If you skip one impulse purchase, save that money. If you bring lunch once or twice, move that money. If you save $5, move it. Do not wait until the amount feels impressive. Small money moved on purpose becomes powerful over time. And then emergency fund roadblocks. Building an emergency fund sounds simple, but it may not feel easy. You may face roadblocks, low income, rising costs, family needs, emotional spending, impulse purchases, unexpected bills, people asking to borrow money, feeling like small amounts do not matter, feeling guilty for keeping money for yourself. These are real obstacles, but this is why the first goal is small. You're not trying to become wealthy in 1 week. You're trying to build the muscle of keeping money, and muscles grow with repetition. And it grows with high reps at that. Chapter 12, boundaries are your emergency fund, around your emergency fund. If y'all saw how small these words were, because I had already emailed myself the script just in case this thing happened. And since it did, now I have to squint, allegedly. One hard part of saving is boundaries. Sometimes you have to tell yourself no. Sometimes you have to tell other people no. All of the time you have to tell other people no. But that's just my opinion. Because I was someone that used to tell everyone yes. So I got to balance out the scales by telling everyone no. Sometimes you have to say, I cannot spend that right now. I am working on my emergency fund. I am trying to protect my stability. This can feel uncomfortable, especially if you are used to helping everyone or spending whenever people ask. But remember, you cannot build stability if every dollar is always available to everyone and everything. Having boundaries does not mean you're selfish. It means you're trying to stop living in crisis. The first $100 challenge. For this lesson, the first challenge is simple. Save your first $100, not overnight, not perfectly, just intentionally. You can do it in small pieces. $5 at a time, $10 at a time, $20 at a time. Use money from leaks, use extra income, use change, use small transfers, use a savings jar. The goal is not just the $100. The goal is making and proving to yourself that you can start. Once you reach 100, the next goal can be 250, then 500, then 1,000, step by step. Emergency fund and emotional peace. An emergency fund does more than protect your money. It protects your mind. When you have no cushion, everything feels urgent. When you have a small cushion, you may feel a little more calm. You may still have problems, but you're not starting from zero every time. That matters emotionally. Financial literacy is not only about numbers, it is about reducing panic, creating options, and it is about giving yourself more room to breathe. And chapter 15, this week's action plan. Here is your action plan, like I'm a teacher. Step one, choose your first emergency fund goal. It can be $25, $50, or $100. Step two, choose where you will keep it. A separate account, envelope, jar, or safe place. Step three, pick one money leak to redirect. Step four, move the money before you spend it. Step five, write down what counts as an emergency. Step six, if you use the money, rebuild it without shame. The mission is not perfection. The mission is protection. This was a quick lesson because I didn't rant this much. Closing. An emergency fund is not about fear. It is about preparation. It is about giving yourself a cushion, stopping one problem from becoming a crisis. You may not be able to save 3 to 6 months right now. That is okay. Start with the first dollar. Start with 5, 10. Start with one small transfer, because the first emergency fund is not only about the amount, it is about the habit. It is about the identity. It is about saying, I protect my future. I prepare for my life. I do not have to live in panic every time something unexpected happens. So this week, pick your first goal, separate the money, protect it, and remember, a small emergency fund is still a powerful beginning. And also, there will be a worksheet in the description. I don't know how that would look in there. But it basically is just taking what I'm saying and saying my emergency fund goal is, and you either check 25, 50, 100, 250 or other. I will keep my emergency fund here and all of that other stuff. But I mean, with AI being in every search engine, you can just tell it to do it and it'll do it for you because it's already here. You can't avoid it. I used to feel like Siri was a form of AI. I feel like so, yeah. But that was it for part 4. Stay tuned for part 5. Have a great day. The Financial Literacy Way.